when I was 14 and I was approached by a staff telling me how pretty I was. And he knew at that time that I was going through some stuff. For one, I had just had a baby. I was crying all the time. I was hurt. My mom had just gave me to the Department of Corrections, so I was a ward of the state. I went from being a straight A student, run track, cheerleading, to being a foster kid, running away, all out here lost. Then he took his power. He manipulated me into being involved with him. And because of that, and I willingly got involved with him, but mind you, I was a minor. I was a child. He was grown. And because of that, I lost. The judge told me that I needed to complete parenting, life skills, get my GED. I never did anything that judge asked me to do. My son ended up being adopted behind that. I lost custody of my son. I didn't accomplish anything. I'm just now meeting my son, 2023. 34 years of his life. But had I went into the system and did everything that I had my mind set on doing, which was to better myself, and not got distracted by an officer, who's to say I would ever went back?
What's good? And thank you for tuning in today. Today, I got a very, very special guest with me, Miss Rochelle Conley. She is a author and a songwriter. She's fighting for reform in our prison system. So would y'all please, please, please give her a round of applause and welcome her on to the What's Good Family Podcast, Miss Rochelle Conley. All
Oh,
right, all right.
thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, I always start this off with every new guest I have. So I always ask the new guest, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am currently doing prison reform, as you just mentioned. I'm an artist, as well as I got a new book coming out, an author. My passion right now is prison reform. That's where I'm at pretty much on my journey, just really trying to see things change within the penal system, because I feel like there needs to be a difference.
Okay, all right. So what you do in the author and the songwriting and working for this prison reform, do you consider this to be more of a job or is it a passion?
Passion.
Okay.
Don't get paid from none of it. It's all passion.
Love it. I love it. You know, my grandpa always said when you pursue a passion, it doesn't so much feel like work.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's dive into this. So, you know, I saw one of your other interviews and where you kind of you did like your whole origin story. So I'm gonna link that video so they can get your origin story, but I want to focus on what you're doing now. Like what's in the works. So tell us about these books you have. I believe you told me you have two books, right?
Yes, the first book I have written is called What Satan Meant for Evil, God Meant for Good. And how I got the title of my book is that I was in the penal system as a juvenile and I was sexually assaulted by a correctional officer. After that happened, then it kind of took me down a very dark road in life. The sexual abuse started off in the juvenile penal system, and it ended up going into the adult. Because me, don't let the look fool you. I'd have been in prison multiple times as a juvenile and an adult. And with that being
Wouldn't think
said,
it.
yeah. With that being said, I ended up deciding to go work for Department of Corrections after I got my stuff expunged and sealed, and prayed about it, the door open, became a correctional officer, saw the same thing going on back then as it was going back on in the 80s and 90s. Mind you, when I used to run in the penal system, it was the late 80s, early 90s, early 2000s. Like, it's 19 years later and you don't see anything change. Like, something's
Mhm.
got to give.
Okay. Your first book, what Satan I don't correct me if I get it wrong. It's what Satan meant for bad, God turned for good?
Yes.
Or did okay, okay, I
It's
got it
okay.
correct.
You worded it wrong, but it's okay. It meant the same thing.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So take us into this book. Like what are we gonna get from it? Is this more of your origin story? Like, hey, I started out here and this is what I saw, or or do we get more in depth? Like this is
My books go deep. One thing about me is I don't have no secrets. So my first book is my story and it's my truth.
hmm
I know my identity, so I don't care what anyone thinks or what they have to say about me. And a lot of people are so scared to share their story because they live in shame, they live in guilt, and they have not forgiven themselves for maybe past not being the best parent that they felt like they should have been with their kids, or because they have been in and out of the system. One thing about me is I've done a lot of stuff. I hold myself accountable for my bullshit and I've moved on from it. So I turn my pain into purpose. And that's why the second part of my book is called Prison to Purpose, because from prison, all that stuff that I went through in prison, now I'm using for purpose. It's prison reform advocate. I want to see change. I want to see people go into the penal system and get some rehabilitation that they need to better themselves. Mind you, that could be our kids. That could be us. It could be our loved ones. And it's so much like I'm on LinkedIn and I post videos all the time of the stuff that we see that's on TikTok called We Locked In with the inmates, and like they shouldn't have cell phones. Like these inmates, if my dad was locked up and I was a young kid, do you think I want to see my dad strung out on drugs from the prison, knowing that he was strung out
Nah,
on drugs before he got to jail? You got kids watching their parents and their loved ones on TikTok, Facebook being exposed by other inmates because their cell phones. How are they getting cell phones? That's staff. A lot of it's staff. Not gonna say 100%, all of it, but majority of it's staff. Staff sell. I was a correctional officer. I never did it, but they sell inmates cell phones, $1,000 plus. That's why when you get a family member calling you asking you about Cash App, can you Cash App
mhm,
somebody? Yeah, that's what that is.
that's crazy. I mean, for me, I've never been in the system. I've never experienced the system, so like this is all news to me. Like I was under the impression that once when you're incarcerated, you don't have those privileges. The most you have is a payphone, and then you got to get the hey, do you accept this call from inmate such and such? That was my interpretation or my perception of it. So to hear it's not like that, that's crazy. Like how I guess it brings me to the question, how did we get here? I mean that doesn't even make any sense,
You want to know how we get there? Honestly, lack of
honestly.
accountability for staff. Lack of accountability for staff. When I was sexually violated by them officers, they got to resign. No officer should be able to resign. If you are sexually involved with an inmate, and a lot of times they try to say that it's willing, there is no willing. When you are hired on as an employee for the penal system, when they hire us on as staff, that doesn't give us a right to take advantage of anybody that's incarcerated. And I'm coming to you, speaking to you from a correctional officer's point of view. That's not what they pay us for. They pay us to go in there to do the right thing, whether somebody's looking or not take our power of authority and take advantage of people, especially sexually. So this is where the Conley Act comes in. I'm pushing for harsher sentence for staff. If you came into the prison and say you smoke weed and you coming to visit a family member and I shipped you down and you had a bag of weed in your pocket, guess what? It could have been a little nickel bag of weed. We got to call the police. You're going to jail. We're going to press charges. Now you got a felony. You can't never come back in the system. So why are officers getting to resign? They should be charged. If you'll charge a citizen and hold them accountable to the fullest extent, why won't you do that to your staff? These are people that you hire on to do a job.
It seems like not even it seems like it's the double standard. I feel and I say this, I feel like a lot of times there's a standard that we as the ordinary law-abiding citizens have to go by, and then there's the standard that the system wants to set for itself where, hey, we're gonna try to sweep this up under the rug to where it doesn't blow up any bigger than what it already is. But as long as you don't come after us, I definitely understand. I have a better understanding now than I did 5 minutes ago because I had no idea of the cell phones. Now, as far as the sexual exploitation, I've heard stories about it, but again, I had no definitive like this happened, this is going on,
It's
and
true.
everything else like that. So
Very true. And it
that's
goes on a lot.
crazy.
And my problem with that is, and this is something that I'm pushing for also because, first of all, can no inmate consent to it? And the repeat offender rate is so high because people run in and out of the system because they don't get the lesson of why God sent them there to get first from get-go. It's called Department of what? Corrections. To correct whatever behaviors that they had to possibly before they went into the prison system. And you have to understand the prison system, and I'm not here to bash Department of Corrections, but the prison system has great programs for people to get the rehabilitation that they need. But a lot of them, like I did as a juvenile, got distracted by staff. So my thing is you want to see less distraction if there's more accountability. And mind you, when an officer is sexually involved with an inmate, because it happens a whole lot. You have officers that resign because they want to be in a relationship with inmates. You got officers that get caught up and they get to resign. They don't bring charges on them. But when an officer gets caught up with an inmate, it doesn't just affect him removing his stuff. Because mind you, now you got people that work for the Department of Corrections, and I'm coming from an officer standpoint, that we have families, we have lives, we have kids at home. But when they lose an officer, they're short on staff. So that means we got to do what? We got to be mandated. We got to work all these extra shifts, all these extra hours because you have to have so many heads for security. So now we're being taken away from our families, wearing ourselves down. This is why so much staff is worn down, because they're not holding the officers that choose to get out of character accountable. If you start holding them accountable to the fullest extent, like you do a citizen that comes into that penal system, then guess what? I'm not saying it's going to stop 110%, but I'm saying they'll think twice before they do it. I mean, I've seen staff quit their job and come back in to visit the inmate and or marry them. That is condoning the behavior. That should never go on. If you end up losing your job because of an inmate, first of all, if it has anything to do with sexual activity, I'm trying to push the convict toward they're charged with rape. You have to you have to register as a sex offender. Being that can't no inmate consent to it, that's rape. And I think if they charge them with harsher penal system, or push for them to have to register as a sex offender, I'm not saying it'll stop, but they'll think twice. Don't nobody want to have to register as a sex offender. Especially not from, you
No.
got kids. Not from no
Yeah.
inmate, for being involved with an inmate, like for real. Should never be that serious.
Now, I gotta ask this, and I know the answer, but I gotta ask it because I mean, for those who are watching, there may be some who have children who are in the system. Does this even stem to the juvenile system?
Yes. The first encounter that I got when I went to the juvenile system, that's where it started. I went in when I was 14 and I was approached by a staff telling me how pretty I was. And he knew at that time that I was going through some stuff. For one, I had just had a baby. I was crying all the time. I was hurt. My mom had just gave me to the Department of Corrections, so I was a ward of the state. I went from being a straight A student, run track, cheerleading, to being a foster kid, running away, all out here lost. Then he took his power. He manipulated me into being involved with him. And because of that, and I willingly got involved with him, but mind you, I was a minor. I was a child. He was grown. And because of that, the judge told me that I needed to complete parenting, life skills, get my GED. I never did anything that judge asked me to do. So my son ended up being adopted behind that. I lost custody of my son. I didn't accomplish anything. I'm just now meeting my son, 2023. 34 years of his life. But had I went into the system and did everything that I had my mind set on doing, which was to better myself, and not got distracted by an officer, who's to say I would have ever went back? That man knocked me off course, but that wasn't his job. See what I'm saying? Where character and
Yeah.
integrity comes in at?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
that's just crazy because that's basically the state or the correctional system is condoning pedophilia behavior like that. That's
Exactly.
crazy, and we're fighting to keep these people out the streets. And you're telling me that you're hiring these people to supposedly guard and protect these inmates and these juveniles from God knows what, and you're the main perpetrator. Bro, that's crazy. It hurts my heart, and I say that because how do I word this correctly? When ain't there's no telling what a person feels when a person in power lords that type of attention over them, and they don't know what to do or how to respond, because it's like, I don't want to rock the boat, but I know this is wrong. So what do I do? You know, and to put people in that type of predicament, that type of situation is I guess because of the type of person I am, I can't fathom it. But to hear that, to hear that you had to endure it, that's crazy, man. Like honestly, I know I had nothing to do with it, but I apologize that you had to go through it, you know?
Honey, I'm not no victim, but you know what? I can say behind it all, I think everything that I went through had purpose. So I don't come out of bitter. I don't come out of victim. I don't come out of that mindset. I come out of the mindset that I want to see something change. I have a kid, we all got kids that do dumb shit. And
Yeah,
who's to say
definitely.
our kid won't end up in the penal system? I have one that did end up in the penal system, got out, and he did go. So this is why I'm so adamant and so passionate about seeing things change. And then I tell, from a staff point inside, like you don't know what those inmates that went through. You don't know what their story. First of all, you don't know what they got. You don't want to be that officer that come in there and sleep with an inmate and then mess around, take something home to your wife because they don't show papers. They don't require that of the inmates. And like I said, it's a lot of stuff that goes on that I feel like needs to be brought to attention and needs to be addressed in a more professional way. I don't focus on the problem. I come with a solution. I feel like
Mhm.
now it's time to start locking these prisons down, searching these prisons, getting on your staff, holding them accountable if they're not doing their job, they're not doing their 15-minute checks, if they're not shaking down these rooms, if they're not doing this paperwork, they're not doing what they. It's time to take back over the prison system because it's gotten way out of hand. Way out of hand. Too many parents are getting a call that their child and died in prison from an overdose. They should never get that call. If they didn't get a call from dying from natural causes, they shouldn't get that call.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. I mean, to say that I mean, I'm just thinking of some stuff that judges will say, I'm sending you here to help you, and
Yes.
then you get there and it doesn't help you, it destroys you, and then there's no accountability taken. There's nothing, if you go into prison and come out worse than what you went in, then that 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 there is the problem.
You'd be
So
surprised how many people go in there without a habit and come out one.
So I'm definitely glad there's somebody who's bringing attention to this because people. I'm not gonna lie, I had no call me ignorance on the situation because I had no earthly idea it went this deep.
Yeah, it's bad.
But also, I don't want to stay on that one too long. I want to get to the hype stuff right here.
Come
So
on.
tell us about your albums, yo. I was listening to
Oh
some
man,
of.
my music is
I listened
lit.
to your
I'm telling
first
y'all, you
one.
gotta check my music out on YouTube. It's Rochelle Conley. I got some hits. And believe it or not, my music, my pain is my purpose. It's all in my music. I write all my lyrics. That's my music. That's me singing. That's my story. Comes
Mhm.
from the heart. From the heartbreak. Heartbreak made me come from a heartbreak. That heartbreak album come from me getting my heart broke. Then pressure made diamonds is the things that I went through from the penal system to an adult. All that pressure to me made a diamond.
When did you realize you were in love with music?
I've been singing since I was a kid. My mom used to have
Come
have me.
on now.
My mom used to have me sing after the pain. You come and love me by Betty Wright when I was a kid. She
Hmm.
used to make me sing that song
Yes,
all the time
indeed.
because a lot of people be wondering, can I sing? I can sing. So I've been singing since I was a kid. I've loved it, and I will start writing my music. Just writing from my heart is my music is my story, and I believe that
Alright.
it's going to help a lot of people to know their truth. It's going to if
Mhm.
you listen to my music, it'll give you a better perspective of who you are as an individual because my music expresses the fact that I'm not who they say I was. I've done a lot of stuff. I've done a lot of bad stuff.
Mhm.
And my thing is, you can overcome those challenges if you choose to. Heartbreak made me. The comeback is real. These are the names of my album covers. The comeback. This is the comeback. All you got to do is put that pain in the purpose, baby.
Man, you said something that just resonated with me. If you choose to, and again, it goes back to that whole accountability thing. But a lot of people don't. A lot of people get stuck in victim mode, and they don't know how to transition over to victory mode. And
Woo! I like that. D, I like that.
and 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 like for me, music is my outlet. Like, music is one of my outlets. It is honestly music. It goes it goes God, my wife, my kids, and then music, and then my podcast. Like, I fell in love with music, and I was just telling my last guest this. I fell in love with, well, I knew I liked music was I was watching the Dirty Michael Jackson's Dirty Diana video on BT, and I was sitting in front of the TV, and when he was in the steam and it was just blowing, I was like, "Oh, I like this. I like this. This is something I want to do." And then when I fell in love with music was when I started dropping beats in my high school years. Man, like I would drop beats. I would drop a beat a day. Like I lived on my keyboard. I had a Triton keyboard, and I took that thing everywhere with me. Even when I went into the military, it was so funny. So you could only have two bags. Like in the military, you could have two carry on bags. So I had my duffel bag, which had all my military gear and all this other stuff, and I had my keyboard with all my civilian clothes as my second check on bag.
Wow.
And then I had underwear stuffed in my backpack and everything else for the carry-on part. But like I fell in love with music doing dropping beats. I used to write, but then I was like, yeah, not everybody's meant to be in front of the microphone. That's not my cup of tea. I'm not, I'm sorry. I'm not the next Curtis Blow. I ain't got lungs like T-Pain, I can't sing. So I fell in love with making my beats speak for me. So like I just man. So I
Well,
gotta
that's
ask you, what's your favorite song?
my favorite song on my album is "Your Breakthrough Is Coming."
Mm,
It's more so position. It lets you know that just when you feel like you about ready to crack, a lot of times when you feel like you're at the end of your rope, that's when you really need to hold on the most because that's when your breakthrough coming. I
hmm,
tell people when it starts hitting you, like when life start really life in you, you got to know something good coming. You got to know something good coming because the enemy, he don't attack what's his.
mm.
He
Yes.
don't attack what's his. So if you ain't going through nothing,
Come
you
on.
might want to check you might want to do a inventory in your life because
Come
trust
on
and
now.
when he got his hands on you, you gonna go through some shit. You gonna go through some real shit, and it's gonna be some ups, some downs, some highs, some lows. But if you just hold out to the end, I guarantee your breakthrough coming. And then my other favorite song is "Know Your Worth, King." It's for all the men out there.
A song for the men. I like that, man. Well, what
I'm
you
a
just
mother of
said,
five
that
sons.
boy,
Yeah, I
hold
have
on,
5
five
sons.
sons?
Yes, and people be like, "Well, why are you always against the?" I'm not against women, but I raise kings, and my boys need to be treated as such. We as women are to
Mm,
treat our husbands and our significant others as kings because that's what they are. They don't just call us queens for nothing. We queens, they kings, and men need to be start being treated as such. They matter too. Pressure
mm.
made you a man. That's another one of the cuts that I made for men. Yeah, check my songs out. Yeah, they got a lot of meaning to them, and it's not all for the women. I love the women, and I'm for the women, but I'm a mother of 5 sons, and I'm also a student at AIU University. I go to school for audio production.
Okay. That's good. That's good. Five. Well, I got five myself. I got three boys, two girls, and it's not difficult. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's difficult. It is very difficult. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, oh well, it's not difficult. It is difficult because it's like when my sons, and and you said it so perfectly. When my sons, especially in my marriage, I try to have them normalize the whole idea of yes, you treat your queen and any lady, you treat them a certain way, but they are in return to treat you a certain way.
Yes, yes.
You're not a doormat. You're not just meant for them to kick their shoes off on you. No, you have worth, and you need to know your worth. But I also teach my daughters, I tell my kids this. You're for my sons, I tell them, I set the example of what you're supposed to be as a man, and your
Bingo.
mother sets the example of what you're supposed to normalize from a woman, and vice versa from my daughters. My wife sets the example of what they're supposed to be as women, and I set the example of what they're to work to accept from a man. And you know, I tell anybody, I'm proud of my kids. I love my kids.
Me too.
I have 5 wonderful children. They're knuckleheads. My 3-year-old is a damn terrorist. Yes, I said it, and I meant it. He is a terrorist.
He's just challenging you, that's all.
This little kid, man, let me tell you about this kid right here. I was at home, and I'm like, "Yo, put that down, bro. Don't no more candy, no more candy." He puts it down. He comes, sits by me. He gives me a kiss, tells me he loves me. I'm like, "Okay, all right." I'm playing the game, and then he's slowly inching out the door, slowly inching out the door, and then I see his hand go, "Choom," and he books it. And I'm over there, "If you don't get back over here," and before I could even get to him, he done already shoved about 3 or 4 gummy worms down his mouth. I'm over there like, "Bro, like, are you serious? Are you serious right now? Like, this can't be life. This can't be
He being
life."
a kid. He just being a kid. You know, kids test us to see how far let's see what they how far they gonna go.
Yeah, definitely, man.
That's all
I'm
it
telling you. I love it. I mean, I tell anybody, man, my children, I this podcast wouldn't be what it is. I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for my kids. My kids saved my life. You know, I thank God every day for blessing me with my family, you know, my wife and my children, because they they all inspire me each in their own way to be better. And you know, I just I love my children. I'm sorry, I don't mean to get off into a rant.
No, as you should. And I have a song on my album to my kids called I Did the Best I Could with the Life I Had. And I wrote that for
Mm,
my children because you can only do what you know.
that
They
facts,
love it.
facts.
I love my kids too. I wasn't the best parent because parent don't come with instructions. But
No.
the life that I live allowed and I always kept everything 100 with my kids. They know my story. They know the truth of their mama's whole story. And the reason why I did that because that gives them the option to choose the life that they want to live. You know,
Mhm.
so many people, they live secret lives and these kids out here lost. You know, if you've tried drugs and if your kids' father didn't try drugs, your kids try drugs, you need to let them know, look, your mom and your daddy used to get high. You might not want to try to get high because you're going to be an addict for real. You gotta let these kids know your daddy was a drunk, your mama was a drunk. You mess around, start fooling with that alcohol, you're gonna be out here an alcoholic because it's in your genes. That's why it's important to tell your kids where you've been, where you've done, and how you overcame. And don't just talk the talk, but be walking the lifestyle when you bring it to them, you know? And then you don't
Yeah,
want other
definitely.
kids to hear your past from somebody else. You can't go to my kids
That
telling them nothing they mama, because they're gonna tell you, boy, I read my mama book. Period. She wrote a book. That's what they gonna
that
tell
part
you.
right there.
You don't play about their mama.
Yeah, so many parents wanna walk around with skeletons in the closet and act like they were born and then they became parents. You know, that's one of the most realest approaches I try to have with my children, is to let them know I made mistakes. I wasn't I wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. I challenge things. You know, I tell them about my shortcomings in hoping
They
that
make
it
better
will, yeah. And like I tell my kids, and even if when my kids watch this, and I'll say it again so they know it's real. You know, because apparently, you know, when you put it on the internet, it's real. So I'm about to put it on the internet for them real quick. I'm not looking for you to be me. I don't want you to be me. You can't be me because there's only one me. I want you to be you. Walk your journey, walk your path, and enjoy your life.
there you go.
All I'm here to do is guide you and get you to a better tomorrow. I want you to be better than what I was.
Yeah.
And I feel not enough parents want that for their children. You know, I feel that there's parents out there who literally they get jealous if their children surpass them, and then they do everything they can to hold them down. And for the life of me, I don't understand that type of mindset. to be a leech off your own child?
So many parents out here trying to be their kids' friend instead of their parent. I don't believe in you sitting there getting high, smoking weed with your children. To me, I'm totally against that. I've never done that with none of my kids. And I ain't never went to no bar and hung out with them. Now, if it's an event or something's going on family wise and it's at a bar, then yes, that's fine. But just sit up and take shots with my kids, I'm not doing that because I'm their mom. And my
Mm,
whole thing is we're supposed to be an example. Now, I wasn't the best mom, like I said before, but there's a line that you draw. Even when I was out there in my mess, I still didn't do it. I still was that mom that wasn't going. Don't play with me. I'm not going. So my thing is, a lot of parents, unfortunately, and it's just it's the trend nowadays. You sit up and you smoke with your kids and watching your kids sell dope and hustle and all this other stuff. That's not of God. And it says, train up a child in the way that they shall go, and they will. Everybody used to say, watch how my kids turn out. And just knew my kid. All my kids are very successful. I got one that's a challenge, but all the rest of them have careers. They have jobs. And actually, he's married with kids, and he's doing really well. He just bumped his head before, but all the rest of my kids didn't turn out. None of them. I used to always rebuke them. None of my kids turned out nothing like. Ain't none of them never did none of the stuff that I did. Glory be to
yeah.
God. They didn't.
Glory, glory.
Yes.
It's amazing how kids will uplift you and inspire you, and you look back at them like, man, I just want what's best for you. And I'm gonna drop the ball. And I guess maybe some parents need to hear it. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to drop the ball. You're gonna fail because you said it best, Rochelle. There's no guidelines to this. There's no handbook. Nobody, you're not born with a handbook that says, hey, here you go, here, read this and you'll become a better parent. It's all trial and error.
Yeah, it is. And it's those mistakes that allows them to know that it's okay to fall. One thing about me too as a parent, I don't never pick my kids' career. If my kids tell me they got an idea, I support it to the fullest extent, but don't ask me what I think you should be doing because if you fail at doing what I feel like I tell people all the time, stop putting your dreams off on your kids. Let your children grow up and do whatever it is that they want to do. And I don't care what it is or what career that they choose. Just tell them whatever it is, be the best at whatever it is that you're trying to do. Because a lot of times this is where kids get angry and bitter at their parents because you want to come in here trying to tell them, well, I think you need to be playing basketball because you're good at it, but you wanted to play basketball. You wasn't that good at it. But that might be something that person wants to do while they're in school or whatever. But that might not be the career that child wants. And you're going to make that child hate you trying to push you into doing something that you couldn't accomplish in your life. So I tell people, don't do that. Let them make their own decisions. That way they find their own way. We want our kids to be the best version of themselves that they can be. Not a
Facts,
not
facts.
us.
Yeah, we're not looking for duplication.
No, we want to
We're
see
not.
better. We want to see bigger and better things out of our kids.
Hey, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, Miss Rochelle, I'm gonna go on and give you the last word, and then we're gonna wrap this thing up.
First of all, I want to say thank you for having me on your show. This is DJ D. This has been awesome. This has been awesome, as I knew it would be. I'm so grateful to be here on your show. I thank you for following me on my social media. I thank you for supporting me in my music and my books, and really just being a support system to me. I look at you as family. Very grateful for you. Definitely excited that I'm met you at the event, and thank you.
Definitely. Likewise. Just know you got a home over here, you got a brother over here. Whatever
Yeah,
I can do to help you progress, just know I'll do it if it's in my power to do.
that's what good family do.
Yes, ma'am. Well, all right, y'all. Y'all already know what time it is. If you are new to this, go and hit that like, follow, comment, share, and subscribe button. If you are true to this, leave a comment. Let us know what you think about this episode. Be sure to hit up my girl Rochelle. Check her out on YouTube. Matter of fact, I'm gonna let her Rochelle bless them with your links.
They can find me on YouTube, Prison to Purpose. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok, Prison to Purpose. And I'm on Facebook as Rochelle Conley. So, and I'm on Rochelle Conley on all my social media. Please like and subscribe. And if you have a question or would like for me to help you in any type of way, any of my listeners, if you want to hit me up, I do respond.
Y'all heard it. Just so y'all know, and I'm gonna say it. It costs nothing to support. It costs nothing to go into your phone, your tablet, your laptop, your iPad, whatever, your MacBook, and click like and subscribe. It costs nothing to support. So let's dial it up. Let's get it up. Let's grow. All right. Catch y'all again next time. Peace.
Cheers.